First of all, let me say thank you to Michael and all the panelists that were here today. I think this was a great event, and in particular, thanks to our great Congressman Jim Cooper for being the keynote speaker. Where we have been has been discussed in detail, and now we need to build on our momentum. We need to forge ahead with our commitment to mass transit and with our commitment to alternate modes of transportation, making our cities more walkable, more bike-friendly, and ultimately better places to live. Our goal is to provide mass transit options that are easy, frequent, and affordable, specifically expanding our options for light rail, commuter rail, and bus rapid transit. While we are doing this, we will be reducing pollution, improving air quality, fostering healthier and stabler communities, and we will be building communities that attract businesses and people, and that will benefit us all economically. When people are deciding where they're going to live and raise their family, they want a place with a high quality of life. And mass transportation is a key part of that. Today we heard from other cities about how they have navigated the road that we are now on, and we have begun the process of outlining our steps. You've also heard how the Tennessee General Assembly passed transit enabling legislation last week, which is an historic step, and I don't use that word lightly. It was an historic step for public transportation in our area. I want to thank all the elected officials around the state that helped make this happen, those who helped in the planning stages and those who attended the legislative committees to show their support. And I want to say a particular word of thanks to Greg Atkins of TPTA and to Michael Skipper who led the charge. And I want to take a minute and describe a little more about what it does and what it does not do. The legislation allows voters or local governing bodies to decide how best to fund public transportation so that we can create a stable and reliable source of dedicated funding for transit in Tennessee. And I think we've all realized that the only way we're going to get the federal dollars that will assist us is to have dedicated funding. It is a first crucial step. It gives us the authority to expand or create new transit districts in large urban areas if needed. It enables us to better compete for important federal transit dollars. It does not impose any new taxes. It is now up to the stakeholders to determine what funding is best for their area. This legislation merely allows us to start that dialogue, begin our planning, and move forward toward implementation. It does not give the RTA the power to acquire property. Local governments will approve and help acquire the property necessary for the construction of transportation facilities and transit stations. The legislation was an essential step in the process toward building a regional transportation infrastructure. We are at the beginning of a long journey. You heard Mayor McCrory talk about they did this 12 years ago in Charlotte, that will ensure that our region continues to be strong economically by being a desirable place to live and work. It will require significant effort and a critical partnership among public agencies, the business community, and our citizens. As we have seen today, other regions and other states that we compete with, and we will continue to compete with over the next coming decades, are reinventing themselves with investments in mass transit. I talked to the individual from Austin, from the chamber there, who, when he was leaving, and he said, you know, we see this, if we did not do the mass transit in Austin, we would not be competitive for new businesses. We would not be competitive for the young, educated people we're trying to attract, because it all goes into quality of life. It all goes into making yourself appealable. And they see that as they had to do it in order to remain a viable economic entity, and I think we have to do the same things. I'm asking each of you here, but mostly my fellow elected officials, to take advantage of the opportunity we now have before us and come together to take the next steps. Cumberland Region Tomorrow and the Metropolitan Planning Organization are doing great and important work with the planning and communication of regional efforts. I am encouraging them to continue their work to press harder for progress, and I thank them for what they do and for joining in the mayor's efforts. So the question is, what do we do now to go forward? I recently received a report from the Green Ribbon Committee that I appointed here in Nashville to look at environmental issues. It's a group of top community and environmental leaders that advised me on sustainability issues and trends. They met and worked for the last year on a report that makes recommendations on a range of environmental issues. Transportation was so important to this group that one of only four subcommittees was totally dedicated to mobility. Their report contains specific action steps that need to be taken, and many of those steps have been talked about today. I encourage you to go online to nashville.gov and the mayor's office page to see those details. I suggest the formation of a working group of those who care and who are willing to take a claim in this. On a recent trip to Denver we had with the Chamber of Commerce organized, I was impressed with the Metro Mayor's Caucus. The Metro Mayor's Caucus is a cooperative alliance of the mayors of 37 cities and towns in the Denver metropolitan area. Everybody gets the same vote. They do almost everything by consensus. The caucus is a collaboration of elected officials providing leadership and creative solutions on a range of issues such as water, growth, housing, and transportation. A group like this in Middle Tennessee would build our willingness to work together and help build consensus on transportation issues and others as they come along. So today I am committed to facilitating and to working with the other mayors to create a mayor's caucus in Middle Tennessee, where we all no one city, no one county takes the lead, but it's something we do together. And I think we should initially meet once a month, begin a process of working through the issues that are important to us, and just have the dialogue and see where we go from there. But that is what we as elected officials need to do and do soon. But there also needs to be a parallel private sector effort. We need a transit alliance, which they also had in Denver. And I leave it to others to come up with a snappy name for it, but we need a coalition to lead